They declared war on Earth. No one told them the truth about humans, Part 1. No. The declaration, the massive galactic council chamber, stretched across miles of polished metal and crystal. Representatives from 68 different alien species sat in their special seats, each designed for their unique body shapes. The air hummed with translation devices converting hundreds of different languages into understandable words. Ambassador Krell stood up from his seat. He was a Vorthan standing. Nearly 8 feet tall, with 4 powerful arms and skin that looked like gray stone. His species had ruled 17 star systems for over 1,000 years. Today he was very angry. Fellow council members, Krell began, his deep voice echoing through the chamber. We have a serious problem that threatens our galactic peace. Other aliens turned their attention to him. Some had multiple eyes, others had tentacles instead of arms, and a few looked like giant insects. But they all shared one thing: they had never seen a real war. Krell activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. A small blue and green planet appeared, spinning slowly in the artificial light. This is Earth, he said, pointing at the world with one of his 4 hands, home to the species called humans. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The humans were new to space, having only developed faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. Most aliens thought of them as primitive, creatures who had gotten lucky with technology. What about the humans? Asked Council Leader Thane. He was ancient, even by alien standards. His species, the Eternal Ones, had built the first galactic government over 10,000 years ago. They believed they were the wisest beings in the universe. Krell's stone-like face showed clear anger. 3 months ago, humans attacked and destroyed our mining operation on Kepler 44 to be. They killed over 2,000 Vorthon workers and stole valuable resources worth millions of credits. The chamber erupted in shocked gasps and angry chittering sounds from various alien throats. But that's not all, Krell continued, raising his voice above the noise. We have discovered that humans are hiding the criminals who did this terrible act. We demanded they surrender these war criminals to face Vorthan justice. Do you know what they said? What did they say? Asked Ambassador Yith, a slug-like creature who spoke through holes in her head. They said no. Krell's voice was filled with disgust. They refused to follow proper galactic law. They claimed their people were defending themselves, but we all know the truth. Humans are violent, primitive beings who do not understand civilized behavior. More angry sounds filled the chamber. The aliens were not used to being defied by anyone, especially not by a species they considered to be barely intelligent animals. Krell pressed a button, and the holographic display changed to show star maps. Red dots appeared across several sectors. Of space, it gets worse. These humans have built colonies in 23 star systems without asking permission from the rightful owners. They are stealing our territory and resources. Which systems? Demanded General Vox of the Crystalline Empire, his body glowing with angry purple light. Systems that belong to the Vorthan Empire, the Zephyrian Kingdom, and the United Hives, Krell replied. They simply arrived with their ships and started building cities. When we told them to leave, they refused. They said these systems were unclaimed, but we all know that is a lie. Council Leader Thane leaned forward in his floating chair. His species had no legs, just a long body that ended in tentacles. This is very serious. Humans must be taught to respect galactic law. Exactly, Krell agreed. But there is more bad news. Our intelligence reports show that humans are building more ships and expanding their military. They are preparing for war against civilized species. The chamber filled with worried whispers. War was almost unknown in the galaxy. Most conflicts were solved through negotiation or economic pressure. The last real war had been over 3,000 years ago, and it had only lasted a few weeks before the losing side surrendered. What evidence do you have? Asked Ambassador Zith, a bird-like creature with bright blue feathers. Krell showed new images on the holographic display. They showed human ships that looked different from normal designs. Our spies have seen these vessels near human colonies. They appear to be warships, but humans claim they are just cargo transports. We believe they are hiding weapons inside. The images showed large, blocky ships that did look somewhat unusual. The aliens studying them nodded in agreement. thought. They were seeing proof of human aggression. The humans are clearly planning to attack peaceful civilizations, Krell declared. They destroyed our mining facility as a test of their weapons. Now they are preparing for larger attacks. What do you suggest we do? Asked Council Leader Thane. Krell straightened to his full height, all four arms crossed over his chest. I propose we declare war on the human species. We should give them one final chance to surrender the criminals and abandon their illegal colonies. If they refuse, we attack their homeworld and teach them the price of defying the Galactic Council. Chamber erupted in discussion. Aliens spoke rapidly in their own languages, translation devices working overtime to keep up. Some seemed excited by the idea of finally taking strong action. Others appeared worried about the idea of war. How many ships would we need? Asked General Vox. My military advisors believe that 3,000 ships should be more than enough, Krell replied confidently. Humans have perhaps 50 warships at most. Their technology is primitive compared to ours. The war should last no more than a few days. Ambassador Yith raised a slimy appendage. Are we sure this is necessary? Perhaps we could try economic sanctions first. Krell shook his head. We have already tried diplomatic solutions. The humans ignore our messages and continue their illegal activities. They only understand force. We must show them that the Galactic Council will not tolerate their behavior. Council Leader Thane called for silence. The chamber grew quiet as the ancient being prepared to speak. This is a serious decision. We have not declared war on any species for thousands of years. The humans have clearly shown they do not respect our authority or our laws. He paused, looking around the chamber at all the alien representatives. However, we are civilized beings. We will give the humans one final opportunity to avoid destruction. We will send them an ultimatum: surrender the war criminals, abandon all illegal colonies, and pay compensation for the destroyed mining facility. They will have 72 hours to comply. And if they refuse, asked Krell, then we will show them the power of united galactic civilization, Thane replied. We will gather the largest fleet in galactic history and reduce their homeworld to ash. No species can stand against the combined might of 68 civilizations. The vote was called. One by one, each alien representative cast their vote. The result was unanimous. All 68 species voted for war against humanity. As the decision was finalized, none of the aliens bothered to research human history. None of them understood what they had just awakened. They saw humans as primitive animals who had stumbled into space technology. They had no idea that they were about to face the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever known. The ultimatum was sent to Earth within the hour. Deep in the Human Defense Command Center on Luna, Admiral Torres received the message. He read it twice, then quietly activated a protocol that had been prepared for 50 years, for the first time since humans had reached the stars. They would show the galaxy their true nature. They declared war on Earth. No one told them the truth about Humans Part 2. The awakening Captain Rivera stood on the bridge of the human ship U.S. Defiance. Watching the enormous alien fleet approach through the darkness of space, the sensors showed over 3,000 enemy vessels spread across several light hours, moving slowly toward Earth's solar system. Each ship was massive, some as large as small cities. Captain, said Lieutenant Garcia from her station, the alien fleet will reach the outer planets in 6 hours. Should we send a distress signal to Earth? Rivera smiled, but it was not a worried smile. It was the kind of smile a wolf might make when it sees a flock of sheep. No need for that, Lieutenant. Everything's going exactly as planned. The bridge crew looked confused. They were just one ship facing an enormous enemy fleet. All logical thinking, they should be terrified. Instead, their captain seemed almost happy about the situation. Sir, reported Sergeant Kim from the communication station, we're receiving a transmission from the enemy flagship. They want to talk! Put him on screen, Rivera ordered, settling back in his command chair. The main display flickered to life, showing the bridge of the alien flagship. General Vex appeared on screen, a massive Vorthon with 4 arms and skin like gray rock. Behind him, other alien officers moved around their stations, all looking very confident. "Human vessel," General Vex announced in a deep, booming voice. "I am General Vex, commander of the combined galactic fleet. You are completely surrounded and outnumbered, 3,000 to 1. Surrender immediately, and we will make your death quick and painless." Rivera chuckled softly. "General Vex, thank you for the generous offer. However, I'm afraid we'll have to decline. You see, there's something about humans that you really should know before we begin." General Vex's forearms crossed over his chest in what humans had learned was a gesture of supreme confidence among his species. "And what could a primitive species like yours possibly teach us?" "Well," Rivera said, leaning forward slightly, "we're really good at one particular thing, which is—" Rivera's smile grew wider, killing. The transmission ended abruptly. As Rivera cut the connection, he turned to his crew, all of whom were now grinning with the same predatory expression as their captain. "All stations," Rivera announced. "Activate Protocol 7. It's time to drop the act." Across the bridge control, panels that had been dark suddenly came to life. Weapon systems that had been carefully hidden began powering up. The ship's hull, which had appeared to be simple civilian construction, began shifting and changing as armor plates moved into position. Lieutenant Garcia Rivera said calmly, "Please send the activation code to all units in the solar system." "Yes, sir. Sending code Omega 77 to all stations." Throughout the solar system, something remarkable began to happen. What the aliens had identified as mining stations, communication relays, and civilian installations suddenly transformed before their sensors. On the largest asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter, massive metal plates slid away to reveal enormous railgun batteries. Each weapon was larger than most alien ships, designed to fire projectiles at significant fractions of light speed near Saturn's rings. What had appeared to be a simple research station opened like a flower, revealing a military fortress bristling with missile launchers and energy weapons. Hundreds of fighters poured out of hidden bays, their sleek forms designed for speed and destruction. Throughout the outer system, cargo ships and civilian transports dropped their disguises. False hull plates fell away to show heavy armor and weapon arrays. Ships that had appeared to be simple miners or traders were revealed as destroyers and battleships. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Garcia, her voice filled with excitement, "all ships are reporting ready. The hidden fleet is moving into position." On his command screen, Rivera watched as thousands of contacts appeared on the display. A ship's that had been hiding in asteroid shadows, behind planetary bodies. And even inside the gas giant atmospheres began moving toward the alien fleet. Each one was a human warship, disguised and waiting for exactly this moment. The aliens had detected 50 human ships in the solar system. There were actually over 12,000. On the bridge of the alien flagship, General Vex stared at his sensors in complete shock. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Where did all these ships come from?" His intelligence officer, a nervous creature with multiple eyes, was frantically checking and rechecking the readings. "Sir, our sensors are detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. The humans have been hiding their true fleet strength." "How many ships?" Vex demanded. "Over 12,000 confirmed contacts, sir. And they're all armed with weapons we've never seen before." General Vex felt something he had never experienced in his long military career: fear. His species had ruled space for centuries through superior technology and overwhelming numbers. No one had ever hidden this level of military capability from them. "How is this possible?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Back on the Defiance, Captain Rivera opened a communication channel to the entire alien fleet. His voice was broadcast to every ship in the enemy formation. "Attention alien forces," Rivera announced, his tone now completely different from the polite conversation of minutes before. "Welcome to Sol System, the home of humanity. You have made a serious mistake." Transmission included a tactical display showing the true positions of all human forces. The alien fleet, which had thought they were surrounding a helpless solar system, suddenly realized they were the ones who were surrounded. "For the past 50 years," Rivera continued, Humanity has been playing a role. We've pretended to be peaceful explorers, simple traders, and harmless colonists. We followed your laws, respected your territories, and acted like the primitive species you believed us to be. And on ships throughout the alien fleet, commanders watched in growing horror as more and more human vessels revealed themselves. Mining ships became battleships, research stations became fortress platforms, civilian colonies became military bases. But there's something you need to understand about humans, Rivera said, his voice now carrying a tone of deadly seriousness. We are not a peaceful species that learn to fight. We are fighters who learn to explore. Every human you've met has been a soldier in disguise. Every colony you thought was civilian has been a military outpost. Every trade mission has been gathering intelligence about your weaknesses. The alien fleet tried to reorganize, but they were completely surrounded. Human ships appeared from every direction, moving with precision and coordination that spoke of decades of planning. You declared war on Earth thinking you would face 50 primitive ships, Rivera concluded. Instead, you're facing 12,000 warships crewed by the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. We've been waiting 50 years for someone to make this mistake. The first human weapons fired, and the alien fleet learned what real war looked like. They declared war on Earth. No one told them the truth about humans. Part 3. The lesson: the battle for Sol System lasted 18 hours. When the shooting finally stopped, space around Earth was filled with the wreckage of alien ships. Twisted. Metal and debris floated in silent clouds, reflecting the light of the sun like deadly stars. Of the 3,000 alien vessels that had entered the solar system, only 147 managed to escape. They limped away on damaged engines, their crews traumatized by what they had witnessed. The rest had been completely destroyed by human forces. Not a single human ship had been lost on Earth. In the underground command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, President Martinez prepared to address the Galactic Council. The room around her was filled with military officers and government officials, all watching wall-sized displays that showed human fleets moving throughout the galaxy. The displays revealed something the aliens had never suspected. Human colonies existed in over 200 star systems, not the 23 the aliens had known about. Each colony was heavily fortified and defended by hidden military forces. Are we ready for the transmission? President Martinez asked her communications officer. Yes, ma'am. All council members are connected. They're waiting in their emergency session chamber. President Martinez nodded and faced the camera. She was a small woman in her 60s with gray hair and kind eyes. She looked like someone's grandmother, not the leader of the most dangerous military force in the galaxy. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice calm and polite. I hope this message finds you well, despite the recent unpleasant events. On the other end of the transmission, in the council chamber, the surviving alien representatives were in a state of panic. Many seats were empty. Their occupants had fled to their home worlds when news of the battle reached them. Those who remained looked terrified. Council Leader Thane, the ancient being who had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, stared at the human president with something approaching terror in his multiple eyes. President Martinez, he said, his voice shaking, we need to discuss terms for ending this conflict. President Martinez smiled gently. I'm afraid you misunderstand the situation, Council Leader Thane. This isn't a conflict. This is an education. She gestured to the displays behind her, which showed detailed information about human military capabilities. You see, there's been a terrible misunderstanding about humanity's nature. For 50 years, we've allowed you to believe we were primitive, explorers who stumbled into space technology. This was a mistake on our part. Ambassador Krell, who had survived the battle by abandoning his fleet and fleeing in an escape pod, stood up on trembling legs. This is impossible. Our intelligence services said humans were peaceful. You had no military tradition. Your intelligence services, President Martinez replied, saw exactly what we wanted them to see. We've been very careful to present ourselves as harmless explorers and traders. But the truth is quite different. The display behind her changed to show images from Earth's history. Ancient battles, medieval warfare, world wars, and conflicts that had raged across every continent of the planet. What you're looking at, President Martinez explained, is 10,000 years of continuous warfare. Humans have never known true peace. We've been fighting each other with every weapon we could invent, from stone clubs to nuclear missiles. Alien representatives stared at the images in horror. They saw battles involving millions of soldiers, cities reduced to rubble, and weapons of incredible destructive power. My species, President Martinez continued, evolved on what we call a death world. Everything on Earth was trying to kill us. The weather, the animals, the diseases, even the plants. We survived by becoming the most efficient killers on our planet. She showed them more images. Humans hunting creatures 10 times their size, armies marching across frozen wastelands, naval battles on stormy seas. We learned to work together, to kill things that were bigger, stronger, and faster than us. We developed strategies, tactics, and weapons that could destroy any enemy. By the time we reached space, we had already fought every type of war imaginable. General Vex, the Vorthon commander who had led the attack on Earth, appeared on a side. Screen he was in a medical facility, his gray skin now pale with shock. You deceived us, he accused. You made us believe you were weak. We didn't deceive you, President Martinez corrected. We simply didn't tell you the whole truth. When humans first met alien species, we realized something important. You were all prey animals. The aliens in the chamber made various sounds of confusion and fear. Think about it, President Martinez explained. Your species evolved as herbivores, filter feeders, or peaceful scavengers. You've never faced true predators. Your idea of warfare is economic pressure or limited territorial disputes. You've never experienced total war. She activated another display showing comparative biology. Humans evolved as pack hunters. We have forward-facing eyes like all predators. We have sharp teeth for tearing meat. Our hands are designed to grip weapons. Everything about our bodies is built for killing. Council leader Thane leaned forward. In his floating chair, what do you want from us? Tribute, territory. We can negotiate. President Martinez shook her head. You still don't understand. This isn't about what we want. This is about what you've done. You declared war on humanity. You threatened our homeworld and our children. The display changed again, showing human industrial capacity. In just 18 hours since the battle, humanity had converted entire planets to war production. Massive factories were building new ships. Weapons manufacturing had increased by 3,000%. See, President Martinez said, when humans go to war, we don't just fight with the military we have. We convert our entire civilization into a war machine. Every factory, every resource, every citizen becomes part of the war effort. She showed them footage of human colonies throughout the galaxy. What the aliens had thought were peaceful settlements were revealed as heavily fortified military bases, each capable of supporting large fleets. For 50 years, we've been preparing for this moment. Every human colony has been a fortress in disguise. Every trade ship has been gathering intelligence. Every diplomat has been a spy. We've been studying your weaknesses and planning for war. The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. The aliens had not just attacked a primitive species, they had awakened the most successful predator in galactic history. You made one critical error, President Martinez concluded. You assumed that because we appeared peaceful, we were weak. You confused our restraint with inability. This is a mistake that prey species often make when they encounter true predators. She spoke. Reports continued to flood in from across the galaxy. Human fleets were attacking alien military bases. Vorthon colonies were surrendering without a fight. The Zephyrian Empire was desperately trying to negotiate a ceasefire. The lesson is simple, President Martinez said. Humanity is not a peaceful species that learn to fight. We are fighters who learn to explore space. We have awakened something that should have remained sleeping. They declared war on Earth. No one told them the truth about humans, Part 4. The reckoning's 6 months had passed since the Battle of Sol System. The Galactic Council Chamber, once filled with representatives from 68 proud species, now held only 23 terrified survivors. The rest had either been conquered by human forces or had fled to the far edges of the galaxy. Admiral Chen stood before the remaining council members, his dark blue uniform decorated with medals from victories across dozens of star systems. Behind him, holographic displays showed the current state of the galaxy, a map painted in human colors, spreading like wildfire across what had once been sovereign alien territory. "Honorable council members," Admiral Chen began, though his tone suggested he found little honor in the frightened beings before him. "I stand here today to report on the progress of what your species chose to call a war." The surviving aliens shifted nervously in their seats. Council leader Thane, who had once ruled with absolute authority, now looked frail and broken. His ancient species, the Eternal Ones, had controlled the galaxy for 10,000 years. In 6 months, humans had reduced them to refugees on their own homeworld. "Let me share some numbers with you," Admiral Chen continued, activating the holographic display. "When you declared war on humanity, you represented 68 civilizations controlling approximately 43,000 star systems." The display showed the galaxy as it had been 6 months ago, a complex patchwork of different alien territories, each marked in different colors. "Today," Chen said, and the display changed dramatically. 31 of your civilizations no longer exist as independent entities. Their territories are now administered by human colonial governments. Our military forces have been completely destroyed. Where once there had been dozens of different colors on the galactic map, now there was mostly red, the color representing human-controlled space. Ambassador Krell, who had started this entire conflict, sat in the corner of the chamber. His proud Vorthon Empire had been one of the first to fall. Its homeworld was now a smoking ruin, its cities reduced to ash by human orbital bombardment. "The Vorthon Empire," Chen said, looking directly at Krell, "lasted exactly 72 hours after our fleets arrived in their space. Your impenetrable fortress worlds were cracked open like eggs. Your invincible battle fleets were destroyed so quickly that some ships never even had time to fire their weapons." Krell said nothing. He had watched his entire civilization burn from space as he fled in a small escape craft. "The Zephyrian Kingdom," Chen continued, "chose to surrender after witnessing what happened to the Vorthons. Unfortunately for them, we had already decided that surrender was no longer an option. Their species now exists only in small reservation camps on 3 minor worlds." A bird-like alien near the back of the chamber made a small crying sound. She was the last surviving member of the Zephyrian royal family. Admiral Chen activated another display, showing detailed statistics of the human war effort. "You wanted to know the truth about humans, so here it is. We're not just warriors. We are the most efficient killers the galaxy has ever produced." The display showed comparative military data that made the aliens recoil in horror. Human casualty rates were impossibly low, while alien losses were catastrophic. "In 6 months of warfare," Chen explained, "humanity has lost fewer than 10,000 soldiers. In the same period, we've killed over 2 billion alien military personnel and conquered 43% of the known galaxy. The numbers were so overwhelming that some aliens couldn't comprehend them. How could one species be so devastatingly effective at warfare?" "You see," Chen said, "every species in this chamber evolved as prey animals. Your wars were territorial disputes fought with limited objectives and rules of engagement. You had concepts like acceptable losses and negotiated settlements." He gestured to images of human soldiers in combat. They moved with a precision and ruthlessness that alien forces couldn't match. Humans evolved as pack hunters on a world where everything was trying to kill us. We learned to fight not for territory or resources, but for survival. When humans go to war, we fight to completely destroy our enemies. We don't stop until the threat is eliminated forever. General Vox of the Crystalline Empire, his body now dim and colorless with fear, raised a trembling appendage. "Must want something from us. Terms of surrender, tribute payments, territorial concessions." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "You still don't understand, do you? This stopped being about territory or resources the moment you threatened Earth. You declared war on our species. You targeted our homeworld. You threatened our children. The display changed to show human industrial capacity. The numbers were staggering. Entire solar systems had been converted to war production in a matter of months. When you attacked us, Chen continued, you triggered something that your species have never experienced: total war. Every human civilian became a war worker. Every factory began producing weapons. Every ship became a potential warship. Our entire species mobilized for your destruction. The aliens watched in horror as the displays showed the scale of human war production. Massive factory ships were consuming entire asteroid belts to build new fleets, orbital shipyards larger. Then most alien cities were launching thousands of warships every day. We have a saying on Earth, Chen said. When you come for the king, you had better not miss. You came for humanity, and you missed. Now you face the consequences. Council Leader Thane, his voice barely above a whisper, asked, what happens to our species now? It depends, Chen replied, on how useful you prove to be. Some of your species will be allowed to continue existing in carefully controlled reservations. Others, ... He let the sentence hang in the air. The display showed footage from conquered alien worlds. Some were being rebuilt under human administration. Their populations working in human-supervised factories and farms. Others were completely empty, their cities abandoned ruins. The Hivemind Collective chose to fight to the very end, Chen explained, showing images of a completely dead world. They refused every offer of surrender. Their homeworld is now a lifeless rock. Their species is extinct. Several aliens made sounds of distress. The Hivemind had been one of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy, the Aquatic. Federation was wiser, Chen continued, showing underwater cities where fish-like aliens worked under human supervision. They surrendered completely and agreed to all our terms. Their species will survive, though they will never again be independent. Ambassador Yith, the slug-like creature who had questioned the war declaration 6 months ago, spoke up. We had no idea humans were so dangerous. Our intelligence was completely wrong. Your intelligence saw exactly what we wanted you to see, Chen replied. For 50 years, we studied you while pretending to be harmless explorers. We learned your weaknesses, your fears, your military capabilities. We prepared for this war before you even knew it was coming. The truth was finally sinking in for the surviving aliens. They hadn't just underestimated humanity, they had been completely deceived. From the very beginning, they declared war on Earth. No one told them the truth about humans. Part 5. The New Order. 2 years after the Galactic Council had declared war on Earth, the galaxy was completely transformed. The Grand Council Chamber had been renamed the Terran Administrative Center, and human flags hung where alien banners once flew. The circular seating arrangement that had once held representatives from 68 species now contained only human. Colonial governors and military commanders. President Martinez stood at the center podium, addressing the assembled humans who now controlled galactic civilization. She looked older than she had 2 years ago, her hair completely white now. But her eyes still held the sharp intelligence that had guided humanity through its greatest triumph. Fellow citizens, President Martinez began, today marks the 2nd anniversary of what historians are calling the Terran Unification War. It is time to formally establish the new order that will govern our galaxy for generations to come. Around the edges of the Great Chamber, in specially designated observation areas, sat the surviving representatives of alien species. They were no longer participants in galactic government, but witnesses to humanity's complete dominance. Their species existed now only at human discretion. The holographic display behind President Martinez showed the current galactic map. What had once been a complex patchwork of different alien territories was now a unified expanse of human-controlled space. Marked in red from the galactic core to the outer rim, the transition period is now complete, Martinez announced. Major alien military forces have been disbanded. All strategic resources are under human control. All spacefaring technology has been centralized under Terran authority. In the observation section, former Council Leader Thane sat quietly in a simple chair. The ancient being who had once ruled the galaxy now looked fragile and defeated. His species, the Eternal Ones, were confined to a single world under constant human supervision. For those alien civilizations that chose cooperation over extinction, Martinez continued, looking directly at the observation section, you will find that human rule is fair but absolute. Your cultures and traditions will be preserved, but your independence is permanently ended. She activated a display showing various alien worlds under human administration. Some looked almost normal, with alien populations going about their daily lives. Others showed the stark reality of military occupation, with human soldiers patrolling alien cities. The Crystalline Empire chose early surrender and complete cooperation, Martinez explained, showing images of crystal beings working in human-supervised factories. Their species continues to thrive under our protection. They have learned that submission to superior force is sometimes the path to survival. General Vox, the former leader of the Crystalline Empire, sat in the observation area wearing simple, civilian clothes instead of his once magnificent royal robes. His crystalline body, which had once glowed with pride and power, now showed only dim acceptance of his fate. The Aquatic Federation similarly chose wisdom over pride, Martinez continued. Their underwater cities continue to function, their people continue their traditional ways of life. The only difference is that they now serve human interests instead of their own. President Martinez paused and looked around the chamber, her gaze taking in both the human administrators and the alien observers. But let us not forget the species that chose a different path, she said, her voice becoming harder. Empire, which started this war, fought until their homeworld was nothing but radioactive dust. The Hive Mind Collective refused every offer of surrender and chose extinction over submission. In the observation area, Ambassador Krell, the Vorthan who had first proposed war against humanity, stared at the floor. He was one of only a few thousand Vorthans still alive in the entire galaxy. His proud warrior species had been reduced to a handful of refugees living on human charity. These examples serve as permanent reminders, Martinez said, of what happens when primitive species challenge their evolutionary superiors. She activated another display, showing the current state of human expansion beyond the original galactic boundaries. Human exploration fleets were already moving into previously unknown regions of space, searching for new worlds and new species to encounter. Today, I am announcing the establishment of the Terran Galactic Empire, Martinez declared. This empire will be guided by the lessons we have learned from our recent victory. Never again will humanity hide its true nature from the galaxy. The human administrators in the chamber applauded, while the alien observers remained silent. From this day forward, Martinez continued, any species that achieves spaceflight will be immediately contacted by human forces. They will be given a simple choice: peaceful integration into our empire, or the same fate that befell the species in this room. Admiral Torres, now promoted to Supreme Military Commander of all human forces, stepped forward to address the assembly. His uniform bore decorations from campaigns across the entire galaxy. The Human Defense Fleet, Torres announced, has been reorganized into the Imperial Navy. Our forces now patrol every inhabited system in the galaxy. We have established monitoring stations around every world capable of developing spaceflight technology. 8. The display showed the massive scope of human military presence. Fleets patrolled trade routes, orbital platforms monitored communications, and ground forces maintained order on thousands of worlds. No species will ever again be allowed to develop military technology without human oversight, Torres continued. No species will be permitted to expand beyond their home systems without our permission. The age of independent alien civilizations is over. President Martinez resumed her address. Some of you may think this is harsh. Some may believe we are being unnecessarily cruel to defeated enemies. But remember what these beings tried to do to us. She showed images from the original alien fleet that had attacked Earth 2 years ago. They came to our solar system with 3,000 warships. They planned to reduce our homeworld to ash and kill every human man, woman, and child. They declared war on our entire species based on lies and arrogance. The alien observers shifted uncomfortably in their seats, remembering their confident predictions of easy victory over primitive humans. "We gave them 50 years of peaceful coexistence," Martinez said. "We followed their laws, respected their territories, and tried to be good galactic citizens. Our reward was a declaration of total war against our species." She looked directly at the surviving aliens. "You made a fundamental error in judgment. You mistook our restraint for weakness. You confused our peaceful behavior with inability to fight. You thought that because we appeared harmless, we actually were harmless." The president's voice grew cold. "This was the mistake that prey species make when they encounter true predators. You never bothered to study human history. You never asked why a species from a death world might have developed such advanced technology so quickly." The chamber fell completely silent as Martinez delivered her final words. "You declared war on Earth, believing you were attacking a planet of peaceful farmers and merchants. Instead, you awakened the most successful predator species in galactic history. You have learned too late that humans are not prey animals who learn to explore space. We are hunters who decided to hunt among the stars. The human empire had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same."